Hey guys, Nick Jordan from contentdistribution.com here today. And in this video, I have definitive proof that backlinks are not the primary ranking factor in Google search. And I'm bringing receipts. A couple months ago, internal emails and documents were leaked from the Google DOJ antitrust hearing, proving once and for all that user engagement metrics like time on site, bounce rate, pages visited, overall site engagement are the #1 ranking factor, not backlinks and technical BS like schema. In this video, I'm gonna break down everything we know, what it means, and how you can use this knowledge to add over 100,000 organics a month to your website, again, without backlinks, without technical BS. Let's look at the first leaked slide. There's 3 things it covers. It's called the 3 pillars of ranking. You have body, anchors, and user engagement. Body's the content. What does Google think your page is about? Anchors are, what's the entire internet saying about this document, aka backlinks? And the third, user interaction. And this makes sense because when you look at all the major platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, even YouTube uses user engagement metrics to influence reach within the platform itself. Now, back in 2019, this just made sense to me because Google's the world's most innovative big data company. Everybody is doing it, and Google has access to the data through Chrome, Android, and Google Analytics. And I thought it would be crazy if the world's most innovative big data company, who sees all of their competitors using user engagement metric and has access to user engagement metric data, wasn't using it to stack rank search results. Now, over the last 5 years, I've been explaining this in 50 different ways, but I don't think I could explain it better than a slide directly from Google itself. Let's look at that slide. Results, SERPs, interactions, learnings, straight from Google itself. And boy, do I feel vindicated. So now that we've settled it, let's talk about how you can use this to get more traffic to your website. Since writing that article, How Google Works in 2019, where I claim that user engagement metrics are the most important ranking factor, let's do a quick tour and see what we've done with that knowledge since. We've taken 6 websites from 0 to over 100,000 organics a month. The largest went from 0 to 1.5 million organics a month in about 18 months. We've published over 14,000 pages. We've ranked on page 1 for hundreds of thousands of keywords, and we've generated a combined 50 million plus visitors, all without building backlinks or doing technical BS like schema. Now, this isn't vanity traffic. The project that went from 0 to 1.5 million organics a month added almost 100,000 paid subscribers, and it allowed the brand that we were working with to go from a seed stage valuation to a $210 million valuation by A16Z in that same time frame. If you don't know who A16Z is, they've backed companies like Facebook, Airbnb, Uber, Reddit, SpaceX, OpenAI, and basically every important company over the last 10 years. And we've done all of this without building any new backlinks or doing any technical BS. I've tried to get into SEO 3 times over the last 15 years. And the first 2 times I focused on backlinks and technical BS, and I didn't learn enough to continue investing my time into it. The 3rd time I took a different approach. I focused 100% on content quality, and it worked, and it hasn't stopped working for the last 5 years. Doggypedia.org was a DR0 when I started it. I grew to 100,000 organics a month, and it finished at a DR9. Campus Reel was a DR33 when I started working on it, grew to over 166,000 organics a month in about a year. We started working with a subscription D2C hosted on Shopify, where we added 1.6 million ARR, and it was a DR7 when we started. When I tell you backlinks don't matter, it's because I've lived it. I've won without them. And this is a better approach to SEO, because if everything that influences your success is on your website, then you have 100% of control over the outcome. But when you believe in a backlink powered approach to SEO, what you're doing is you're giving up control to the Google gods. You're tithing money into a black box, you're praying to Larry and Sergey, and you're hoping you get a return on that tithe. So in 2019, I was working on my very first SEO campaign. I joined an SEO agency and I took over their blog to learn SEO. We ended up hitting over 100,000 organics a month and ranking above brands like Instagram for Instagram support and right below Shopify for Shopify support. And when I was analyzing why this happened, the only thing that made sense to me was that user engagement metrics are important. Let's look at this page, Instagram support, where we ranked above Instagram themselves. Instagram's page is about 3 sentences, and very quickly you realize that Instagram is not going to be able to help you whatsoever. And then you bounce and you look for somewhere else, for someone who might have something that could help you get your account back. Now let's look at our page. Our page is about 2,000 words, and underneath of it, we've allowed comments. So think about it from the user's perspective. You land on the Instagram page, you very quickly find out that they can't help you. You go back and you click on the next result, which is us. We have 2,000 words. You're intensely reading every line, scrutinizing it for hints on how you can get your account back. When you get to the end of the article, we've enabled comments, and there's hundreds and hundreds of comments of people posting their problems, and you're scanning each one looking for a resolution. And the way that you behave on these 2 pages is completely different. Ours, you're going to spend 5 to 10 minutes on. Instagram's, you're going to bounce after 30 seconds. Now think about it from Google's perspective. You have 2 documents and you can't actually read either of them, but you know that this one has 10-minute time on site. It has a very low bounce rate. It has a bunch of pages visited, and it has a lot of overall site engagement. And then you have this page, very small time on site, very high bounce rate, very low user engagement. And they're both about the same topic. Without being able to understand what the content is about, except for their user engagement metric scores, I bet you could guess which one creates more value for users. And it's clearly the one with better user engagement metrics. And again, this is the same thing that Facebook and TikTok and LinkedIn and Instagram are using too. You create content, they show that content to a small audience. If you get above average engagement from that small audience, they show it to a bigger audience. If you continue to maintain that higher engagement rate, they show it to an even bigger audience, and they keep on expanding the audience that they show your content to until your user engagement metrics drop off. So how do you create better quality content than everyone else on the internet? The first thing you need to know is you're not competing with every piece of content about the topic. You're not competing against tweets, you're not competing against email newsletters, you're not competing against PDFs and ebooks and thought leadership. You're competing against what Google's already showing in the search results. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to Google the keyword you want to rank for. You're going to open up the top 3 to 5 results, and you're going to take notes on what those results are doing well and what they're not doing well. And when you look at those 3 to 5 results, there's not going to be somebody who has everything. The top result's going to be missing things that the 5th result has. The 2nd result is going to have things the 4th result doesn't have, and vice versa. So you're going to read the content that Google's already showing. You're going to take notes on what they do well and what they're not doing well. And then you're going to create an article that creates more value than any other page Google could show for the keywords that you want to rank for. This part is extremely important because if you know me, I'm the content velocity guy. But content velocity doesn't work without content quality. In fact, I've seen successful websites that got a great outcome by publishing a lot of high quality content, and then they publish 10x more bad content and they tank their rankings. I can't stress enough how important content quality is. Now, if I seem upset, it's because I am. I'm on a mission against the average SEO influencer because the average SEO influencer led me astray. If you Google ranking factors, you're going to find an article that claims that there's over 200. And the reason that there's over 200 is because that guy wants to drive a lot of time on site, not because those 200 actually matter. Now, it's not just the gurus who disagree with me. Go into any average Facebook group. Everybody there disagrees with me too. But on the internet, you don't know who's a dog. The people you're taking advice from haven't achieved what you want to achieve. Anyone can pretend to be an SEO expert. Very few people have the receipts, aka the fat graphs. By the way, if you want more content like this, join our community of over 11,000 content-focused SEOs. Go to facebook.com, type in Fat Graph Content Ops, join the group. See you there. Focusing on content quality means we've never been hit by a Google update on an active project. One of the things that I do differently than most is I make the domain names of my fat graphs available. I'm not hiding behind anonymity. Some of my graphs are no longer fat, but I'm more like a dietitian than a magician, meaning if you start eating junk food again, well, I can't help. Here's why Google is obsessed with content quality. Google makes hundreds of billions of dollars a year from AdWords, meaning a 1% loss in market share represents billions and billions of dollars. Even worse, a 1% loss in market share could indicate future loss of market share. Google's highly incentivized to keep their results better than any other search provider, so you keep on coming back. And ultimately what this means is that Google has a fiduciary duty to their shareholders to make their results the best they can be. And how do they do that? By consistently showing the highest quality, most valuable single page of content that their users are looking for. It's that simple. And when you align with Google's goal, SEO becomes very easy because you have a framework for decision making. What's best for the user can answer almost any question that you have throughout the course of your SEO campaign, even if you haven't seen that scenario before. Whereas if ranking relies on shortcuts and hacks and tricks, there's no decision-making framework. Should you do this thing or that thing? Well, who knows? It's all based on hacks. So if you're still not convinced, I want to talk about a very popular SEO scenario that happens. You create a new page of content, that page of content is pushed onto the first page, and then Google drops you off. Everybody knows the first page dance after publishing. What do you think is happening there? Google's testing you on the first page. They're seeing how your content performs, and if your content performs better, you'll stay. And if your content performs worse, you'll drop off until you refresh that content and Google gives you another chance. That Google dance is Google stack ranking you against your competition. And the only way that Google dance makes sense is if they're using UX metrics to influence whether you stick or bounce. Now, all of this is great news for most SEOs because it means that SEO is more accessible. If you know your audience well, you can create good quality content. You can predict what they need to know next, and you can provide better information than the competition. And none of that requires knowing how to build backlinks, doing things like CTR manipulation, schema, entities, semantics, TDIF, and all this BS that SEOs go on and on and on and on and on about.